Hi, my name is Jenny Bailey and I'm the founder and owner of Calla Shoes. And today I am going to give you my 5 top tips of what I would recommend when you want to start a business of your own. I started my business 3.5 years ago. Well, it launched 3.5 years ago, but it's been in the back of my mind for about 10 years. And 5 years ago, I found myself in a redundancy situation at work. I was pregnant with my second daughter and I decided that that was the time that I would take charge of my own life and start up this business that I'd had a massive light bulb moment for a few years prior. So it's not an easy decision to start your own business, and many people will say that they're too afraid or they don't really know where to start. Now, my background is not owning businesses. This is the first business that I've ever had. I'm now 42 years old, and prior to that I worked as a senior marketing manager at a university. I was there for 9 years, and before that I worked with SME food and drink businesses in the region in order to help them grow their businesses. So I kind of felt that I had a certain amount of business acumen, but there was still so much that I didn't know about what it takes to run a business. I also had absolutely no idea how to make shoes because I'd just worked at a university, and I had no idea how to make shoes for women with bunions. So it was obviously going to be a very steep learning curve for me, but I decided that it was something that I really wanted to do with my life. I wanted to be able to take charge, to be able to work my time around my 2 young little girls, and I also wanted to see if I could make it work. I had a really strong feeling that this was a great idea, shoes for bunions that actually, look pretty, but I had no idea if this was something that worked. So I started off on my journey, and that was 5 years ago, and then now we sell into over 50 countries across the world. If you're also looking to make that leap into an entrepreneurial life, then here are my 5 top tips of starting and running your own business. Number 1, start a business in an area that you are passionate about. The reason I say this is because running a business is hard work emotionally. So obviously it's hard work in terms of, there is a lot of work to do in setting up and running a business, but emotionally there are lots of up and downs. And I would say that it's like riding a very steep roller coaster. You are literally one day on a high because something is, managed to pull something amazing off, and then the next day something, terrible will happen, or something will just go wrong and it'll knock you a little bit, and then you've got to find your way back up to the top of that hill again. So unless you're doing something that you really love and you really believe in and that you're so passionate about, getting up in the morning and thinking, right, I've got to climb back up that hill again, it's going to be really difficult. Now, I am amazingly super passionate about my shoes, and because it's born out of a personal problem, because I've got bunions and I wanted to make shoes that I could wear, then that's a real driver for me. And I'm really I have a lot of empathy with other women who suffer from bunions as well, so I can really understand my customer and what they're going through. And I can literally honestly say that this is the best job I've ever had in my entire life. I wake up in the morning and I can't wait to start working. And if you feel that your business idea is going to make you feel like that every single day you jump out of bed and you can't wait to crack on and start working, then you're on the right track. Number 2, get support from day one. So when you're starting a business for the first time, it's going to be highly likely that you are not going to be an expert in every single facet of what it takes to run a business. So my background is marketing, but I obviously had huge knowledge gaps in how to make shoes, things like accounting, even things like now hiring staff and all of that kind of thing. So I made use of the huge plethora of advice and support that is out there at the moment, particularly if you're a female entrepreneur. I mean, there's lots and lots of funding that is going into trying to get more women into starting their own businesses. So I would say that don't try and do it on your own. There's no point, because there's so many people out there who will help you. Then you may as well go and get that help. Most of it is for free. I have never, up until recently, paid for any support and advice. I've only recently just taken on a paid non-exec director role, but that's, you know, where I am in my business. But at the beginning, I just went out there. I went to meetings. I did a lot of research online. I approached other business owners that I wanted to emulate and to see if they had any advice. So I would say, you need to go out there, understand what your strengths and weaknesses are, understand your skills gaps and your knowledge gaps, and then go out there and find somebody who can help you fill them. Now, there is a caveat to this. I sometimes get approached with people asking me, I found it really hard to find a factory. How did you find yours? Can you tell me your factory name? And generally, I just ignore those types of requests. And that's because I had to put a lot of effort and time into finding factories and agents who would work with me, who would take my project forward. And part of that effort, if you're not willing to put that kind of effort in at the beginning, makes me think that maybe you're not cut out to be an entrepreneur. You need to go away and put that effort in. So if you come back to me and say, look, I've got this agent, I've got this factory, like, what do you think? Can you give me any advice on how to negotiate them with, or what I should be asking for? I'd be happy to help. But unless you can demonstrate to me that you've at least thought about your problem, you've thought about your customer, and you've done some initial hard grafting to get to a point of needing to ask me for advice, then unfortunately I wouldn't be able to help you. And this is the case for a lot of people out there. There's lots of people out there who are quite prepared to give you advice for free and give up their time for you. But you have to pitch it right. You have to show that you know what you're talking about. Be humble, and be very specific and about what kind of information you need from them. You're not going to say, how do I run a business? That's not going to cut it. You're going to have to go and do some work on your own. But even if you are completely lost, there are lots of accelerator programs and early stage startup business programs out there. So you can join one of those, start to gather information on how you start a business, and then you can go out there and find individuals who might be able to help you further. Number 3, do lots and lots of research. If you've had this light bulb moment, you've got a great business idea, the first thing that is really, really important to find out, especially if you want to make money from this business idea, is if there is demand for your product. Is there a market out there sizable enough for you to make money from that business idea? If you watch Dragon's Den, they always want to know the size of the market, and it's so important, because there's no point you ploughing loads of effort and loads of money into something that when you kind of go da-da, nobody wants. So do lots and lots of research. And that starts with online research for Calla Shoes. There were studies out there about how the prevalence of bunions in various countries, the demographic of a typical woman who has bunions. There was so much out there that I could just do from my home. You also need to have a look and see if anybody else has done what you're doing. It's okay if you have competition. Competition is good because it means that there's obviously a problem, and so other people are trying to fix that problem. But then you also need to make sure that you are differentiated from that competitor in some way, whether it's your service level or whether it's your product innovation, whatever. Really study your competitors in the UK and worldwide as well, and then you'll be able to see if you have a viable slice of that market. If you are too close to your competitors, it's going to cost you a lot of money in order to try and differentiate yourselves from them. It's much easier if you have a very clear USP, a clear point of difference from your competitors. So when I first came up with my business idea, I made an assumption that there must be other people out there like me, and that there was a demand for the products I wanted to make, but I didn't know for certain until I'd carried out several months worth of research, both online, and then I also set up a blog so that I could start collecting data from potential customers and asking them directly what kinds of things were they were looking for, what was their pain point, and getting real insight into what my potential audience wanted. So even now, I make sure that I am continually doing research. I'm always asking for customers' feedback, and I'm also always wanting to know how we can improve Calla and improve our shoes, because that's the only way that we're going to survive. Number 4, put yourself out there. I'm a really firm and strong believer in creating networks and making meaningful relationships with people. So you may meet somebody and you might not be able to do anything for them at that meeting, and they might not be able to do anything for you. But I always kind of make a mental note and think, actually, their story or their skill set is particularly is interesting, and even though I don't need it at this point, I might be able to use them further down the line, and vice versa. I really like to see if I can help people, because you never know when that is going to come back to you. And I can tell you that over the years I have had so much back, much more back than what I have given out. When you network and you make these meaningful relationships, then what you are actually doing is expanding your own network. Because if I meet somebody and we have we share some information, or we share some knowledge with each other, then I'm more inclined to think, actually, there's somebody else in my network of, say, 50 people that might be able to help them. So you're not just making a connection with one person, you're actually making a connection with that person and their entire network. So I can't stress the importance of building up a network of people that may be able to help you as soon as possible. I joined a NatWest Business Accelerator program that is completely free, and they're in major cities all around the UK. And I would highly recommend joining something like that, because straight away there was a whole room full of other startup businesses who were in exactly the same situation as me. But I would say that combined knowledge in the room was just phenomenal. And if you can find the right person or the right people in that room, not only will they help you mentally and keep you going when times are tough, but they can also be, you just don't know what's in people's brains and what they know. I might just have like a quick question about a particular business problem, and they'll have already been through it and they'll know exactly the answer. So please, please, please go out there and try and develop those networks. Number 5, work on your mindset. I truly believe that the main thing that sets successful people apart from others is their mindset. A mindset to learn, to listen, set yourself big goals, have a vision, not be afraid of putting yourself out of your comfort zone and trying something new. These are just a few of the things that I personally think make a good entrepreneurial mindset. And this mindset is basically what makes the magic happen. I've been through some really tough periods of running this business, but having the mindset to learn from failure, to learn from setbacks and think, right, okay, that went wrong, but let's learn from that and move forward. It really makes a huge difference. And if you can project that mindset onto other people, then they believe in you. They're more likely to kind of get behind you and believe that you can make things happen. And having the right entrepreneurial mindset isn't something that you go, right, I've got it now, like we can leave it. It's something that you continually have to work on, because some days, you're not going to be have the right attitude, and you've got to have a word with yourself and say, actually, that's not the mindset that I need to be successful. I need to change that mindset. Or if you come across a particular problem and you're having a wobble and you just think, this is impossible, I can't do it. That isn't the right mindset either. There's no such word as can't. It's that you either need to try harder or you need to find a way around it. Thank you so much for watching, and I do hope you found these tips useful. If you've got any feedback or any questions, then please do comment and I will get back to you.